Joining us on the line is Mike Gonzalez, Senior Fellow at the Douglas and Sarah Allison Center for Foreign Policy. Spent close to 20 years as a journalist, 15 of them reporting from Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Left journalism to join the administration of President George W. Bush. He was a speechwriter for Chris Cox before moving on to the State Department's European Bureau, where he wrote speeches and op-eds. Mike, thanks so much for joining the show. So you've been following closely developments in Loudoun County, Virginia, where parents are standing up to critical race theory. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you're seeing.
I did see the meeting live, like everyone else, and obviously what the Loudoun County board did was pack the first 10 questions or so with people that were sympathetic to what they're trying to do, that is, use CRT and SOGI in the classrooms. But then there was a stream of parents. I tell you, the energy on the ground in Loudoun County is very deeply felt. And the board just could not take it, and then so they abruptly canceled the comments period, even though they had 240 people waiting to ask questions, the vast majority of whom were very, very critical of what the board is trying to do with critical race theory. And then they even arrested a couple of parents. I mean, it was really a show of force. They want to force parents into submission here.
So, Mike, one of the things that we've seen is that the National Education Association recently approved a resolution to cram down critical race theory in all 50 states, some 14,000 schools. They're pretty openly embracing the tenets of critical race theory. So, from your perspective, why don't we first explain what critical race theory is for the uninitiated?
Yes. So the 14,000 school districts, by the way, is all there is. It actually is under 14,000. So it's practically across America. And the NEA, the nation's largest teachers union, said critical race theory by name. So every time you have Joy Reid or anybody on MSNBC or Nicole Hannah-Jones say that critical race theory is not being taught in schools, they are actually lying, because the NEA is saying that it's going to push for this. Now, critical race theory at bottom, it's many, many things, but at bottom it says that our social order is oppressive, that we live in oppression in America. You have to wonder, Ben, if these people ever travel, and because we live in such an oppressive system, we need to change our country completely, root and branch. This is a blueprint for changing America. This is why I call my book The Plot to Change America. So it's not improving America, it's ending America, changing the entire system. At rock bottom, we can go into other aspects of CRT if you want to, but at rock bottom, that is what CRT is.
So, Mike, one of the things that proponents of CRT say is that it's just a framework for viewing the world, that there really is just a set of analytical tools for examining America's institutions. But it seems to be more than that. It makes certain fundamental core assumptions about those institutions that are not analytic tools as much as they are, real arguments.
Right. No, look. Critical race theory is a call to action. They use the word praxis. They say this is not just a thesis. This is not just a discipline. This is a call for revolution. Derek Bell uses the godfather of critical race theory, uses the word revolution. They want to. This is a pretty good country. Imperfect, obviously. You and I both know this. We can always improve ourselves. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. What they want to do is change the most prosperous, free place on earth that has achieved the greatest degree of human flourishing. They want to throw it away, and they don't actually give you a new blueprint.
So, Mike, when we talk about what parents can do, there's a big debate now, sort of on the conservative side of the aisle, about what is to be done in fighting critical race theory. On the one side, you have folks like Chris Rufo, who have argued that essentially we should be passing laws to bar critical race theory teaching in schools. On the other side, you have folks like Thomas Chatterton Williams and David French, who have been arguing that parents ought to be suing school districts. They should be using the provisions of the Civil Rights Act legally, but they shouldn't be passing any sort of laws to ban the teaching of CRT. Which side of that debate do you come down on?
Oh, most definitely on the Rufo side. Not all these laws are perfect. They could be improved upon. I've talked to some of the writers of these laws. I've let them know my feelings about, not banning the teaching of critical race theory, banning the implementation of critical race theory. I must say that I was very disappointed in what David French and Williams had to say. I'd read their op-ed this morning. They say that it is un-American, that these laws are un-American and stifle free speech. That is really that is so ironic, because it's CRT itself that is un-American. It's declaratively un-American. It says that we live in an oppressive society. And by the way, critical race theory is also against free speech. You know, if you read Richard Delgado, one of the architects of critical race theory, he's quite open about this. I just say to parents, go read, find out by yourself what critical race theory is. Don't read about it. Read from it. Read Richard Delgado. Read Kimberly Crenshaw. Read Derek Bell. Yes, they're hard to read, but it's important to do so. Come to your own conclusion. Contact your school board. Contact your teacher. Contact your principal. Make your voice heard. I'm very gratified to see Americans standing up and taking a stand here and saying, no, this is racist. We're not going to put up with this.
Well, this is Mike Gonzalez from Heritage Foundation. His book is The Plot Against America. Mike, thanks so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ben.